Israel have now declared themselves a Jewish state. This is a very, very controversial move. And I want to get into two things on this. First of all, I want to get into potential ramifications, because not everyone in Israel is Jewish. Now, that's not in itself an actual issue. The UK is multicultural, but it's viewed as a Christian country. It doesn't matter if you're Christian in this country or not. That doesn't really have an effect on things. But in Israel, we've seen time and time again that the right wing, led by Benjamin Netanyahu, do not view Palestinians as human beings. They have said this time and time again, which is why they are more than happy to murder Palestinian children. Now, the recent events in Gaza with the protests, for some reason people were defending Israel. Well, I'm sorry, if Israeli soldiers call in snipers because their assault rifles aren't reaching the people throwing stones, that is not self-defense, that is murder. And if you try to defend that, you are a fucking monster. The Israeli government have targeted schools and hospitals, and when they are questioned on it, they say, well, what could we do? Hamas were hiding in these places. We didn't want to murder these children, but we had to get the guys with the low-powered rocket launchers, even though our defense system means those rocket launchers are effectively a handgun versus a tank. We had no choice. We had to execute a lot of them. If you defend that kind of behaviour, you are just as sick and twisted as they are. It's a simple fact. There's no excuse to murder a child. Hamas is a terrorist group. However, it is an understandable action when you look at what's actually happening. Israel are committing genocide. Everyone who is complacent or quiet on this, like Theresa May, is just as accountable as Benjamin Netanyahu, because they're not stopping this. They're not saying anything about this. A little bit here, a little bit there, but no actual actions whatsoever. Which annoys me when it comes up that if you attempt to boycott Israel, especially in this country now, if you're a company and you attempt to boycott Israeli products, you could get into a lot of trouble. If you attempt to boycott Saudi Arabian products, or Iraqi products, or American products, Canadian products, then the UK government doesn't really care. But they take an interest when you try to avoid Israeli products. That is hypocrisy. We are actively seeing genocide. There is no way of defending Israel's actions whatsoever. They have the superior firepower at every single turn. It is that simple. But into reactions from other people, which I find quite interesting. Bolivia it's a country I love for a very odd reason. My preferred cigars come from Bolivia, so I love Bolivia. But the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, I hope I've pronounced that right, has declared Israel a terrorist state, which is what it is. He went on to say in an interview, Israel does not respect the principles or purposes of the United Nations Charter, nor the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That is absolutely a fact. We criticise North Korea for having death camps. We criticise the horrid human rights violations that go on through Saudi Arabia. And yet we seem to fall silent, or at least the media seems to fall silent, when it comes to the grotesque actions that Israel is taking on the Palestinian people. The death camps that they have set up have been condemned by the UN, and yet they are validated by Trump and his family. But more than this, other countries in South America have joined in with this condemnation and actually recalled their ambassadors. Countries like Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Peru, they've all recalled their ambassadors because of what's been happening in Gaza. This is a fantastic lead to follow, and we should follow it, because there is no excuse to murder children. I keep saying it because that is what the Israeli government is doing. They are murdering children. Every time in the past when they have bombed a school, they have bombed these safe zones that they keep telling the Palestinians to go to, when they hear those sirens, they get asked, why did you bomb it? Well, they're a terrorist, what could we do? Where's the proof? You just have to believe us. Why wouldn't you believe us? If you don't believe us, you're anti-Semitic. No. Benjamin Netanyahu is a fucking monster. And anyone who defends Israel in these actions, I'm sorry, but you are just as monstrous.